International news broadcaster Al Jazeera says Israeli troops have shot and killed one of their veteran journalists in the occupied West Bank. Shireen Abu Akleh was covering an Israeli military raid in the Jenin refugee camp. Al Jazeera says she was fatally shot while wearing a press flak jacket and accuses Israeli forces of deliberately targeting her. Israel's Prime Minister says she was probably hit by Palestinian fire. But the Israeli military chief says it's unclear who pulled the trigger. DW correspondent Tanya Kramer joins us now from Jerusalem. Tanya, what do we know about the circumstances of Shireen Abu Akleh's death?
Well, yes, the circumstances are still unclear and details only slowly coming in, of course. The news broke this morning that Al Jazeera correspondent Shireen Abu Akleh was killed while covering an Israeli military raid in the Palestinian town of Jenin, that's in the north of the occupied West Bank. She was there with other colleagues covering this raid in a refugee camp. Now, the Palestinian Ministry of Health said she was hit by a bullet in the head and shortly died afterwards. A second Palestinian journalist also sustained gunshot wounds in his back. He is in stable condition. Now, as you said, the Qatari-based network Al Jazeera, for whom she worked for a very long time, had issued a harsh statement blaming Israel. Now, the Israeli military had initially said that she might have most likely been hit by Palestinian gunfire by Palestinian gunmen. There was a crossfire. Now we are hearing from the Chief of Staff, General Kochavi, that at this stage it's not possible to determine which bullet she was hit with and that they're sorry for her death. Now, Palestinian colleagues who were with her this morning in this location have disputed the claims that there was this kind of crossfire, and they also have said that they were clearly marked as press, wearing a blue flak jacket with press on it.
And Tanya, can you tell us who was Shireen Abu Akleh?
Well, it's probably a bit hard to say that in a few words, but she was a very well-respected, a very well-liked and very experienced, one of the most experienced, I think, journalists here in the region. She basically, has been reporting here for almost 2 decades about the conflict, but not just the conflict, but also of the impact it has on people here. She was known locally, of course, and as she worked for Al Jazeera Arabic, she was also known in the region. Some of her younger colleagues have said on social media, they're all, of course, shocked and in disbelief of what happened. They said they grew up with her reporting here, and she was a role model. There were a lot of reactions, of course, coming in, and I think this highlights again also how difficult it is to work as a journalist in the circumstances here in this environment, especially also for Palestinian journalists with pressures from many different players and sides, and also, of course, how dangerous it is, because people also said, you shouldn't die for doing your job as a journalist.
And Tanya, some final thoughts from you. Is there the will to hold whomever is found responsible for her killing to account?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of pressure, of course, and a lot of calls. We just also had a statement by the EU. There was a statement by the UN Special Envoy for the Middle East peace process, by many institutions, many people here as well, to, have a thorough investigation. We also heard by politicians, obviously, Palestinians and Israelis, but also by the Israeli military, said they have set up a special investigation team. Now, of course, Palestinians would say they wouldn't have much faith in the military investigating itself, but there is the pressure to get to know, to understand what happened there this morning that led to the death of Shireen Abu Akleh.
Tanya Kramer reporting from Jerusalem. Thank you very much, Tanya.